Now, Petco Park, a new beginning, let's go. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Baby said she wanna go to the game. Taught her how to say Padres gang. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Mitchell and Ness with the old school name. All of the homies holler Padre gang. Yeah, they.
And good day, everybody. Welcome on in. It is the Talking Friars Padres Reds pregame show for April 27th, 2022. Ben Fadden, your host here for over, the next half hour or so, talking Padres Reds. That kicks off later today, 3:40 p.m. Pacific time is first pitch. Valley Sports San Diego, 97.3 The Fan on the radio. The Padres enter today at third place in the National League West, 2 games back of first place. The Cincinnati Reds, I bet you can guess where they are. They are in last place right now in the National League Central, 7.5 games back of first place. We are less than a month into the season, and the Cincinnati Reds are 7.5 games back of first place. I wonder what the over-under of games back is by the end of the season of what the Cincinnati Reds are going to be, because right now it is not pretty. Doesn't look pretty. It didn't look pretty last week at Petco Park, except Tommy Pham, obviously. And it didn't really look pretty for most of yesterday, especially that fourth inning where the Padres scored 8 of their 9 runs last night to win the game 9-6. It didn't come as easy as the Padres probably thought it should. They were up 9-1 at one point, got outscored 3-0 in the final 5 innings. The Reds scored, I think, 2 more runs between that the time that they were outscored 3-0, the Padres were, and the time that they were down 9-1. Suarez gave up a home run in that 9th inning to make it 9-6. That was a little nerve-wracking, but the shift really worked on that last out, a liner to Cronenworth. It was on the ground, but a one-hop liner pretty much to Cronenworth into the shift, threw it over to Haas for the final out of the game. Padres win 9-6, improved their record to 11-7. The Reds are 3-14 entering today. Just some news and notes. Pham yesterday went 1 for 4 against us. He singled in his first at-bat. And then guess what? Profar Cannon threw him out at second base. Go sit down. See you later. Thank you very much, Tommy Pham. You have a gym? Well, Profar has a gym too. He's been working on his craft as well. Padres got lucky, like I mentioned yesterday before this series started. They're lucky to not have to face Hunter Green. Didn't face him yesterday. They faced Vladimir Gutierrez today. They face Taylor Mahle tomorrow. They don't have to face Green at all this season, so that's good because he throws absolute fireballs into home plate, 100 miles an hour routinely. I think his last start against the Dodgers, he had 100-plus mile an hour, or the start he had against the Dodgers. It wasn't his last start. I think his last start was against the Cardinals, but he threw over 30 pitches that were 100-plus miles an hour, so that guy's a beast. I would think that something is going to happen to him like Jacob deGrom, where his arm just literally can't deal with how fast that he's throwing. But right now, he's young, and it's working for him. And he could very well help himself win the Rookie of the Year if there's no other standout guys, say as Suzuki falls off, Abrams struggles. You could see him winning it in the National League. Mike Clevenger, he had his rehab start today. It was supposed to be yesterday, but there actually was some some plane problems. So he was not able to get there yesterday, I don't think. And so he ended up starting today. He went 3 2/3 innings in what's supposed to be his final rehab start in AAA. 4 hits, gave up 1 earned run, 1 walk, struck out 5, 67 pitches. Now, when you see 3 2/3 innings, from reports that I was seeing, I thought that he was supposed to get to 5 innings before they put him back on the big league roster to start games. But for me, what I'm seeing here, A.J. Preller, I think, was expecting this to be his last rehab start. So if they're comfortable him only going 3 2/3 innings and they probably weren't focused on the innings, but more of the pitch count, 67 pitches. If that's where he's going to be right now, I think they want to just have him come up. And they have Nick Martinez there who can piggyback him, right? If they want Gore to continue to start, which is what I would do if I was Preller and Bob Melvin and Niebla, I would just have the rotation be Darvish, Manaea, Musgrove, and have Clevenger start and Gore start as well. Have Martinez piggyback Clevenger. I know it's both righties, but that just seems like the way it should be for me. I mean, Martinez, if everyone was healthy, it seems like Nick Martinez would be like the 7 or 8 starter. So for me, like, it's pretty easy to just have him piggyback Clevenger. If Clevenger gets into trouble, guess what? You have Martinez, who has started games already this season in the big leagues for the Padres, that can just come in and pitch 5 innings if you need him to. If some disaster happens, right? You still have Chris Matt on the team as well. But 3 2/3 innings, I wouldn't freak out over that, because for me, if I'm looking at those numbers, it feels like they're just planning on having Clevenger start and then be piggybacked by Martinez when Clevenger comes up. So you would think that was Clevenger's last start. I'd be surprised if it wasn't his last rehab minor league start. He's had 3 now already, and usually that's the range that you do, 2 or 3 if you're a starter. I think Luis Garcia had a couple rehab appearances, but he was a reliever, and so it was just 1 inning stints in Lake Elsinore. So that's one update there with Mike Clevenger. Will Myers is out a couple days, it seems like, with a thumb injury. He might be sent to the injured list with that thumb because it is reoccurring. And Trace Thompson, I believe, was pulled out of the game, the minor league game today in El Paso. So he could very well be put on the roster, whether that's today or tomorrow. And then there is that 26-man roster crunch from 28 to 26. Will that be a position player, or will that be a couple of pitchers? Pedro Avila is obviously probably going to be sent down easily. Ray Kerr, is he going to be sent down? Who knows? But the roster crunch is coming on at least by May 1st. That's when the roster crunch is coming. I'm looking down at my tablet here just to see if there's anything that I'm missing. Don't see anything here. Matt Beatty is in right field, and we'll go over the lineups shortly, by the way. But as for the pitching I wanted to hit on Blake Snell real quick. He has a rehab start in Fort Wayne, Indiana for the High A Tin Caps, and that is going to be on Thursday. I haven't heard of how much innings or how many pitches they're expecting him to throw, but him obviously having that rehab start is a good sign. If they're having Clevenger do 3, maybe they have Snell do 3. It doesn't seem like they're in a rush to have Snell come back. You just don't want him to get hurt again, right? And there was those – Kevin Acee came out weeks ago, and he just snuck in a note that he had some elbow MRI or some injury or something. I forget what it was, so I'm sorry if I mislabeled whatever Acee said, but it was some elbow or arm issue that hadn't been mentioned before, that happened during the offseason. So that might have contributed to why Blake Snell wasn't ready for the season, and he was slowly ramping up, and then he ends up hurting something. That was the adductor, if I remember correctly, in Arizona, but you still don't want him to get hurt. That's the bottom line. So he's going to go Thursday. As for the pitching matchup today, those are some news, a little news, some notes around the Padres. Pitching matchup today, we got Mackenzie Gore and Vladimir Gutierrez. Mackenzie Gore, a 1.74 earned run average in 2 big league starts. It could be his last start before he goes down with that roster crunch that I was talking about. There's some other guys that might be on their last leg as well. But with Gore, I don't think that's going to happen. I mentioned that a couple minutes ago. I don't think that he should be sent down. I mean, it could happen if once Clev gets activated from AAA. But Nick Martinez, again, like I mentioned, is like the 7th starter. And Mackenzie Gore, he's been pitching well. He's been holding his own here in the big leagues. I know that he faced the Reds the last time out, but his first start was against the Braves, and he pitched pretty well. He gave up, it was that home run to Marcell Ozuna, and the other run that he gave up was a ball that was inches from being foul. So he had a good start. He was hitting a lot of his spots with his fastball. The slider hasn't been great, but is the slider miraculously going to get great when he's not working with Ruben Niebla in AAA? I don't think so. So I think it's best for them to just have him continue to be a starter. If he has a dud here and gives up 5 or 6 runs, well, then maybe the Padres have a better argument of sending him down. But for right now, I don't think that that's even an option. I think what you're going to see is Martinez and Gore both stay on the team when Clev gets activated, and you have an extra bullpen guy go down. And you have Martinez be a long guy and piggyback Clev as Clev continues to ramp up in the big leagues because they want him to at least have an impact on the team. And maybe they have the thinking process that they want Clevenger have some of Martinez innings, pitch some of Martinez innings. They don't want Martinez going 5-6 innings and him continue to be out there. And, all the jams that he's gotten in, they don't want him to have to do that, at the beginning of the game. Maybe they're hoping that Clevenger can go 3-4 innings, give up 1, no runs, instead of having to face bases loaded jams like Martinez has faced this year. So that's some of the thinking there. Vladimir Gutierrez, he's 0-3 so far this year with a 5.54 earned run average. 5.55, yeah, I'd say that. 5.54 earned run average. He's allowed at least 2 runs in each start this season, 3 runs and 4 walks that he allowed with 1 home run. That was the Manny home run in San Diego last week in 4 2/3 innings. Not a strikeout pitcher. If you look at his game logs, obviously, he only had 2 strikeouts his last time out. He has 9 strikeouts so far in 3 starts this season. So I wouldn't look too much at the 0-3 record. The Reds just suck. So whenever he's out there, they're probably losing. Same with every other starter that's out there. So that doesn't make him unique and more sucky, if you will. But not being a strikeout pitcher pitching to contact, I think the Padres know that, obviously. And they're going to be hunting for those pitches inside the zone because they know that they're going to get a lot of them. And so you get a good pitch, go hit it. Because if he gets ahead in the count, he's still going to want you to make contact, but it's not like he doesn't strike out a lot of guys. So you still want to attack against Vladimir Gutierrez, but let's say strike 1 comes and it's not your pitch, you still can have strike 2 be your pitch because he's going to throw it in the zone if he's not walking 4 guys like he did last start, right? So that's kind of a little bit what I would think of Vladimir Gutierrez going into today. Gore, going back to Gore a little bit, he got his first win last time out, 5 innings, no earned runs, his first shutout in the big leagues in his career. And I would expect him to do some of the same later today against the Cincinnati Reds. And that leads me right into the bullpen situation for today. Yesterday, you had Luis Garcia, Steven Wilson, and Robert Suarez pitch. Garcia 14 pitches, Wilson 15, and Suarez 22. Wilson pitched first, Garcia pitched second, and Suarez came in the 9th, gave up that home run to Nick Senzel, but that was it. He ends up putting himself into a save situation and then getting the save because that home run made it a 3-run game there in the 9th. But the good news is Rogers is fully ready, hasn't pitched in 3 days. I think he was up. If I remember correctly, he was up in the bullpen last night. So you don't want him to continue being up and throw in the bullpen and not get him in. So if he's up again, you'd expect him to come in today, regardless of what the situation is, if he's up, warming up and throwing. Because I know I've heard sometimes in the past, teams don't want to just continue wasting bullets, even though it's not high leverage or like you're going all at it. You don't want to waste any bullets there in the bullpen with especially a closer, But Chris Matt's ready to go today. If Gore has a dud, Lamet 2 days off, Stammen 4 days off, Hill 4 days off, Avila 2 days off. But they burnt him the 54 pitches. they just wanted to save the bullpen there. Ray Kerr's available. He's had 2 days off after going 10 pitches in his big league debut on Sunday against the Dodgers, where he did not give up a run, and he struck out Max Muncy. That was great to see. I just hate Max Muncy. So whenever Max Muncy strikes out, it's like, yeah, go ahead, go sit down, But yeah, so that's the bullpen situation for today. I would expect Rogers to get in any close situation. Will they go Wilson on back-to-back days? Who knows? I mean, Steven Wilson, 20 straight outs that he's recorded at the big league level for the Padres after I think he gave up 1 run. How many runs? I think he's given up 1 run so far this season. I'm getting that up right now. Steven Wilson. Come on, Steven Wilson. 8 games, 8 1/3 innings pitched. He's given up 1 run. Yeah, 2 walks only. Walk to strikeout ratio, 2 walks, 13 strikeouts. I mean, this is the guy that you're going to rely on the most, I think, right now, beyond Taylor Rogers. He's just dominating right now. Let's see here. Go to the bullpen situation. My Wi-Fi's not helping me right now. Come on. All right, here it is. So we got the Reds lineup here on the right. India, Brandon Drury, Tommy Pham in left field again. Went 1 for 4 last night. And even the 1 hit he had, he got thrown out, like I mentioned earlier, by Profar. His arm is really good this year. Joey Votto at first, Farmer, Senzel, Aristides Aquino, who strikes out, it seems like, every time he goes up to the plate. Ramos Garcia, Matt Reynolds. And then for the Padres, Trent Grisham leading off. Different from yesterday. They had Nola leading off with a lefty on the mound. Today, it's a righty in Gutierrez. Got Cronenworth, Manny, Profar, Hosmer. That seems like it's going to be the 2 through 5 for a long time. If everyone continues hitting the way they do. And you have Nola leading off against lefties and Grisham leading off against righties. That's what it seems like they're doing. They don't want to put Abrams there in the leadoff spot yet. I don't think they've done that yet. Abrams there down in the 9 hole. You got Haas 5th, Beatty, and Wright for Will Myers, who exited yesterday's game with a thumb injury. He might go on the IL. Trace Thompson exited the game in El Paso today, so that's definitely drawn up a lot of speculation about if he's going to be called up today. Will he be playing in 2 games in the same day in El Paso and then Cincinnati? Who knows? I wouldn't expect that, but maybe that's a scenario if there's an extra inning game or something tonight. Nola hitting 7th, Camposano DHing again, hitting 8th, and then Abrams 9th because there's a righty on the mound. So Kim, after hitting a home run yesterday, he is out of the lineup. A lefty in there in C.J. Abrams. With Camposano, one of my what to watch fors again yesterday, one of my what to watch fors for this game was Camposano at DH. And it might be a what to watch for every single game that Camposano is in there at DH because this is his big time to shine. The Padres' big, hashtag this year, time to shine. This is Campy's time to shine. You have Luke Voit on the IL with the bicep soreness at least 10 days. So what I would do if I was Bob Melvin, if I was AJ Preller and the analytics people giving some info and recommendations to Bob Melvin, I know it's Bob Melvin's lineup, but what I would do is I would put Campy in there every day at DH. And you have Nola or Alfaro being the backup because it's Camposano. I talked about this yesterday. Camposano, is he that bad of an offensive player in comparison to Alfaro or Nola that you don't want to have him DH every day and you'd rather have Alfaro or Nola DH over Camposano? Like Camposano almost hit a bomb yesterday and left to left. It was a long fly out to the warning track. And in that one at bat he had late in the Dodger game Sunday as a pinch hitter, he hit a liner to center field. So he's put in some pretty good contact on the ball. He just got here, so the 167 average, whatever. Abrams has had a bigger sample size, and he's hitting 143. Beatty's hitting 125. He's had a little bit bigger of a sample size. But for Camposano, I would DH him every day because give him this chance. He's one of you. It's like Gore. Like, give him the chance. Put him in the big league action. And if he doesn't do well, okay, then you can send him down. But what is the point of playing this waiting game now? It's not like you have Tatis as a DH option now, you know? It's not like you have David Ortiz coming in here and being a DH option. Like Alfaro or Nola is, to me, is not way above Campusano and so much better as a DH option than Campusano. So for me, maybe I'm just talking to no one here and everyone agrees to me. Like I'm not arguing with anyone, even the Padres front office. Maybe they even agree that they're just going to put Campusano as the DH. But for me, it just wouldn't make that much sense to not have him as the DH. Just give him this chance. What does it hurt giving him a chance, you know? When he's a top 4 prospect, don't you want to see what he has? Trade him if, you know, he does play well and you don't envision any playing time for him, you know, increase his trade value that way, or he performs well and there's your DH and you have Voit there as a pinch hitter, or you can have him, you know, not rush back with the bicep soreness. That's what I would take out of it. So that's the lineup today. My what to watch for, hold on one second. This internet stinks. Getting the wheel of death right here. Come on. Load. I see your comment there, Czar. Yeah, we're missing Hunter Green in this series. So my what to watch for is a couple here. I talked about DH, Campy, 1 for 5 last night. Can Gore shut out the Reds tonight after they have film on him, right? Against their hitters. His last start against Cincinnati, he ends up facing Cincinnati again in back-to-back starts. So will he have a duplicate performance, or will Cincinnati have some film on him and adjust, you know? This is Gore's first road major league start as well. There's not going to be anyone there, so with Reds fans, and I don't blame Reds fans, to be honest, based on the team not trying to win and the president's comments and all that. I don't blame them to boycott like A's fans are. But it's going to be like a AAA start. No one there. It's a huge stadium, but no one there. Just go out and pitch. So that might make him more comfortable. He's pitching on the road. He's not pitching in a sellout type crowd, right? Like at Petco Park. So it doesn't feel like there will be as much pressure. Now that's me sitting here in my chair here, you know, talking online here on a pregame show. That's not me, you know, living through the real emotions of Mackenzie Gore, right? So there's that. Is this going to be one of Beatty's or CJ's last chances to impress with that roster crunch coming before May 1st or by May 1st when they go from 28 to 26 guys? Personally, I don't think that they're going to give up on Beatty. I know that they didn't give him a whole lot. They didn't give up a lot for him, but I just don't feel like less than a month in they give up on him, you know? And then Abrams, I think if Tatis was healthy, yeah, he'd be sent down because it's pretty – some of these at-bats that CJ's doing right now that he's putting together, some of them are good, but what I've noticed is that fastball up, he just has not hit well off, you know? He has 5 hits and 35 at-bats, 231 on-base percentage. So that's like a batting average, and you want your on-base percentage obviously to be a lot, you know, higher than that, especially when you're a speedster and you can use that speed to your advantage. And CJ's just not doing that right now. And maybe if they do send him down, it would be a good time for him to get some outfield reps so he can play the outfield once he gets hit that offense underneath him, get some more at-bats. But they almost like don't have any choice. I don't think Abrams will be sent down. I guess that's my point is unless they bring Eggy Rosario up. So it's not like they're sending him down because of the roster crunch. They'd be sending him down because they want him to get more at-bats, get some outfield time, right? That's why they'd be sending him down, not because of the roster crunch. Because right now, they don't have depth infield, middle infield options. Profar is the starting left fielder, and he's going to be the starting left fielder for the entire year the way that he's playing. He's amazing right now. You know, I know the batting average doesn't stand out, but He's hitting in the middle of the lineup. He's their 4-hitter every night, seems like now, with Hosmer hitting behind him, Manny and Cronenworth hitting before him. That's just the way it's going to be. So Profar is not even an infield option like he was before entering the season, because we didn't think he was going to be that big starting left fielder, right? We didn't think he was going to start every day in the outfield, but he's forced the Padres' hand. And then you go back to the infield, right? The infield, you got Manny, you got Kim, you got Cronenworth, you got Hosmer, and then you got Abrams. So you got the 4 starting infielders, and you got to have 4 starting infielders every day. You have Beatty, who can play first, but with the bat, they're not putting him there. You have Alfaro, who can play first, but they're having him as the backup and spare Nola or DH. You have Nola, who can play first, but he's staying healthy. They want him to catch. It's working out well there. So the only other, that 5th infielder right now is CJ Abrams. So they just don't have any other options but to keep him on the roster, and have him hope he can, work himself out of it with this experience, right? And just play better when he starts games with a righty on the mound. That's just the way it is. We might get to a time where they have Kim play every day if CJ continues to not hit great and Kim continues to hit home runs like he did yesterday and like he did, the Cincinnati series where he hit that home run to dead center field. Just looking up Kim's stats real quick. In comparison to CJ, for some reason my finger pressed Boy Hung Kim for some reason. That's not who I wanted here on Baseball Reference, so hold on a second. Ha-Seong Kim. So, he's still hitting under 200, but he has 2 more hits than Abrams. So I guess it's not that great compared to Abrams, but he has a 742 OPS right now, while CJ Abrams has a 488 OPS. So the OPS numbers is huge. The WAR numbers is not 0.1 WAR of a difference. But we might get to a time if Kim does get hot and Abrams continues to struggle against high velocity here, that Kim does start every day. I don't know if that'll happen, but it could. My Padre pick for today is yesterday was Manny. My second time in a row picking him. He went 2 for 4, so got that one correct. I'm 11-6 so far this season in my pregame show Padre pick. Let me know who your Padre pick would be. Just pulling up the lineup here. I do these kind of on the fly out of gut instinct because I feel like doing a bunch of planning for the Padre pick. I don't know. I just don't. I want to do it more like as I'm doing this pregame show. I think that makes it, more fun. And so I'm really going with my gut instinct. I'm not having the time to, look at the guy who I'm picking and say, oh, no, let me look at the numbers again. No, I'm not like blindly like, okay, I'm picking Abrams today. I'm not doing that. But I could still look at the matchups, but it's limited, very limited in terms of matchups. So Grisham is hitting 333 off Vladimir Gutierrez. I'll go with Grisham today. I know that might, someone got on me yesterday about having Manny as my easy pick yesterday. I'll go with the harder pick today. Grisham's been struggling out of the gate, but I do like him leading off today. So I'll take the leadoff guy. I'll take the at-bats that he's going to get, the majority. He's going to get the most at-bats out of anyone in the lineup. So I'll take that today. All right. If you guys have any questions for me, make sure to put them in the chat real quick before we get out of here. I'm going to go over some MLB news and notes before getting to those comments and questions. Let me see here. Kevin Newman for the Pirates headed to the injured list with a groin injury. The Mets are down 10-5 in the 8th to the Cardinals. Kansas City tied with the White Sox 3-3 in the 7th. The Dodgers and the Diamondbacks are underway in Arizona in the 3rd. That there's no score there. Other games in the division today: Colorado plays Philly. at 3:45. And then the Giants play Oakland at 6:45. Did you see that dumb comment by Dave Cavall or whatever his name is, the A's president? He was saying on Twitter, he was talking about how the Bay Area media or the national media doesn't criticize the Giants fan attendance. He was getting on the Giants fan attendance, who ended up having over 30,000 people in the stands for that game last night. But I think he was like replying or looking at a photo or was there. He probably tweeted at the stadium talking about, he was probably seeing the crowd. And you know how at the beginning of games, the crowd isn't just, it's usually not that big. It's not filled in yet. Earlier starts, 6:40, isn't that when the Giants start games? Somewhere around there. Fans probably getting off work. They're not in yet, But as the game went on, fans filed in. There was over 30,000 people in the stands. So for the A's president to be, really getting on the Giants fans and the Giants marketing team, he called out the Giants marketing team for the lack of fans in the stands when they had over 30,000 in the stands last night for the Giants-A's game. It's just stupid. It's really stupid out of him. Like, dude, you have less than 3,000 people going to your games. There's more people going to minor league games than your major league team games. You're not going to get on your marketing team for that? Come on, buddy. Really? That just doesn't make sense. You're the team that's not trying to win. The Giants, meanwhile, they just signed Carlos Rodon in the offseason and tried to improve their team. While you did the exact opposite. You want to move to Las Vegas, and you're okay with not trying to win and selling off Matt Chapman and Matt Olson and Chris Bassett and Sean Manaea. I mean, I'm happy because Sean Manaea is a Padre now, but you're selling off those guys, right? I'm surprised Ramon Laureano's not going to get dealt or hasn't been dealt yet. And I feel bad for Christian Pache, too, like with the A's. Like, he is a really, really, if you look at his Twitter, he has a great follow on Twitter. He seems like a really great, just human being. And he's the face of their franchise, Christian Pache, because he was dealt in that Matt Olson deal but with the Braves earlier during spring training, actually. He's the face of their franchise. And so to put that on a rookie who wanted to be with the Braves and now he's in Oakland, he's trying to make the best out of it, but he's like putting in a really like impossible spot where he goes from a lot of people watching him in Atlanta, this top prospect, to no one caring about that team that he's on. The Oakland fans, they care. I don't want to put it that way. I mean like fans going to the games because they're boycotting those games because the ownership there sucks. They're okay with just trading away all of their best players and letting Bob Melvin come here, right? They're okay with that. Mark Kotsay seems like a great manager. And the A's, if you even look at their record right now, it's not like they're the Reds. Somehow the Athletics continue to try to win a little bit. That I'm not saying that the front office construction tries to win at the major league level, but the team, somehow they get something done. They're 9-9 entering tonight's matchup with the Giants. That's better than 3-14 that the Reds are, right? So prop to the A's for at least trying, So those are some news, some notes around Major League Baseball today. 3:40 p.m. Pacific time is the first pitch today. Padres, Reds, Mackenzie Gore, Vladimir Gutierrez on the mounds for the Padres and the Reds respectively. A couple comments here. Czar, yes, I did touch on that. Padres are missing Hunter Green in this series. Allen, let's go Padres. That's right. Eric back with the Ben easy picks. Today I did not have an easy pick, Eric. I picked Trent Grisham, who's hitting under 200. So that's not an easy pick. I get that he's at the top of the lineup, so he's probably going to get the most. He's going to get more opportunities than C.J. Abrams tonight, right? But he's not hitting great. So Trent Grisham, my Padre pick. What to watch for today? Will Mackenzie Gore continue pitching well? Camposano DHing. How will that go? Almost hit a bomb last night. CJ Abrams, obviously, in the lineup. You're always going to want to keep an eye on him, see if he can start adjusting against not great pitching. It's not like he's facing the Dodgers. So that's the pregame show today. I hope you guys enjoyed it for April 27th, 2022. Ben Fadden, your host. Padres Reds will get underway 3:40 p.m. Pacific time. Valley Sports San Diego, 97.3 The Fan. I will be cutting up some clips and posting in-game highlights to the Twitter account at Talking Friars, and occasionally, not as many, to the TikTok and YouTube and Instagram pages as well, Talking Friars. So stay tuned for that. I just started doing that, so I hope that you guys enjoy that. If you guys are missing the game or whatever, you can just tune into the Talking Friars Twitter and see those highlights. That'll go up today during the game. And as always, the post-game reaction video as well. So that'll do it. Ben Fadden signing off here. Thank you so much. Enjoy the game tonight.